Hey guys, I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I am glad you're here. If you get a chance and you're so inclined, please click that subscribe button down below and like the video if you don't mind. It helps me out and I'd appreciate it a lot. And what we're going to talk about today is a budget banger. I think this is a great little knife. I've had this thing now for a little over a month. Cut and processed a lot of cardboard with it. Used it to cut just really all kinds of random stuff. And I'll get into my thoughts about the Vosteed Nightshade TH. And I'm guessing that the TH stands for thumb hole, but I could be wrong. The original Vosteed Nightshade was a flipper knife, and I always liked the look of it. I always thought it was kind of a cool looking knife. Didn't really understand it. Found out that it's inspired by the Shilin cutter style knife, which is kind of paying homage to that style knife. Kind of a little bit of kookery action going on there too in terms of inspiration. But it is a stainless steel linered, G10 handled, nice steel, flexible springy pocket clip, 154 cm blade steel. Has a nice little sharpening choil there. I have put a couple of edges on this knife and it is screaming sharp. This leaf style blade is very unique in that it's pointy and it's has a negative angled tip, so it makes those utility cuts really easy. It's perfect for slicing, whether you're slicing fruit, slicing cardboard. Perfect for push cuts, perfect for pull cuts. I mean, this knife, which has very understated jimping here, right around the spine, where your hand just naturally falls. So it gives me good grip there and just gives me really nice hand purchase for a medium-sized knife. So if you look at my hand, which is a medium to large size hand, I can get, of course, full four-finger grip on that knife. One thing that I've noticed about the knife is I don't feel the clip when I give it a death grip. I do, however, feel this kind of jimping on the lock bar here, which there's great access to the lock bar. I'm very pleased with the lock bar access, but if you really get that, I noticed it when I was cutting down some cardboard, you can really feel that lock bar in your finger there, because it's just kind of where it wants to fall. It wants to fall into that spot. So I wish that lock bar was, the access again is perfect, but maybe not that jimping down where it's not so aggressive, so sharp. And it's also got a very sharp point. See that right there, right where that lock bar is? You can feel that, and that is sharp. So, I mean, in terms of disengaging it, it doesn't become problematic, but you definitely feel it when you're holding the knife. So the ergos are great, with the exception of the way that lock bar and that sharp angle cuts into your finger or puts pressure into your finger. Also notice this is a satin blade, and I don't know if you can see, but I do have a couple of scratches in the blade, which again, just from processing some cardboard. My understanding is, if you look at Vosteed's website, that this is heat treated and HRC tested at right around 60 plus or minus. I don't know what that translates into for 154, but when I sharpened it and seeing those scratches in the blade, I can't help but think it's a softer steel and probably a little bit softer heat treat than Optimum. But again, for me, as I've told you guys before, for what I cut, for what I use it for, the heat treat's just fine. And the scratches in the blade don't bother me at all. I'm really a fan of the shape of this knife, so much that it's made me reconsider a knife I passed on not too long ago, the Vox Shilin, which looks similar to this knife. I know Lefty had it on his channel. I think that's where I was exposed to it. So when I saw that the Nightshade TH, for I'm assuming thumb hole, was at White Mountain Knives, purple wasn't my first color choice. All the Micartas, which this is also available in Micarta, other colorways for G10, purple was the least offensive color that I could find that was in stock. And I'm not anti-purple by any means. I have some purple knives, but I would have preferred Micarta. But the G10 is good G10, doesn't have any voids in it. I don't know if you can get a close-up of that, but it just is, it's well done. The fit and finish is well done. The blade centering is perfect. Again, the only downside that I can show or tell you about my experience with this knife is that hot spot that I get holding the knife when I really death grip it. You might not get that. I just feel it, and I rarely feel lock bars, but if you rub your finger up and down right here where your finger rests, you will feel that grab your thumb. And if it grabs your thumb, it's definitely grabbing into your finger. But let's do a couple of quick size comparisons so you guys can get an idea of what we're looking at here with the Vosteed Nightshade. Let's look at it next to the Cold Steel 4MAX. And it is going to come in a good bit smaller than the 4MAX. Let's look at it next to the Civivi Baby Banter. And it comes in bigger than the Baby Banter. So let's see how it compares with the Benchmade Bug Out. A little shorter than the Benchmade Bug Out. Let's look at it with the PM2. Just smaller than the PM2, but if you guys can get an idea of that in your head, it's right between the size of the Bug Out in terms of length, even though it's going to be thicker than the Bug Out, and it's a little bit shorter than the PM2, which is going to have about the same thickness as the PM2. Very similar blade sliciness, and just a knife that for a budget knife, and when I say budget knife, this knife was at White Mountain Knives. It was $72. I used the code Lefty10. You can use any of our creators' codes, Tri-State EDC, Tri-State 10. You can use Stella's got a code. I think G-Ball's got a code. Everybody's got a code. Find a code, save 10%. You'll get this knife for probably right around 64, 65 bucks if you go with free shipping. It'll definitely be under 70 bucks. And to me, from just interested in the knife, interested in the shape, wondering how it would really cut, because it does look like a good cutter, I had to take a chance on it, and I have no regrets. I do wish it wasn't as sharp there, but again, I'm not going to be using this knife for hours on end to where that would become a problem. So for most of the cutting I'm going to do, it'll still find its way in my pocket. It'll still open Amazon packages. It'll still cut down shit when I need to cut it down. And that's what slicey knives are for. And I really, in terms of my knife usage, I like a big overbuilt knife just like the next guy. But I do prefer knives that slice really well. And since I'm one of those weird guys that spends a lot of time slicing paper into an empty Amazon box, I just like the sound that it makes when it glides through that paper. So yeah, I'm a fan. I think the Vosteed Nightshade TH, one can only assume that the TH is for thumb hole, being as that's the only method of deployment. I prefer to reverse flick it, but you can also slow roll it. So that, guys, the Vosteed Nightshade. Grab one soon. They'll be back in stock, I'm sure. White Mountain Knives is real good about keeping popular items in stock. Use one of our buddies' codes so you can save 10% and get them a little love. And please, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for one another. Know you won't always agree, that we all have different opinions. But keep loving your heart. Move forward with debate instead of hate. Till we meet again, peace.